Hey, my name's May, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit more about bariatric surgery, which is a surgery that I'm going to be getting soon. I wanted to talk a little bit about how I'm eating right now to prepare myself for bariatric surgery. This is a disclaimer. If discussions of food, calories, macronutrients, if that bothers you, this is not the video for you. I don't discuss it too heavily. I more so talk about my groceries, but I still talk about it. So this video, you might just need to skip forward a little bit or just pick a different video. I have plenty. I have my notes here. Basically, I'll be discussing how I've been eating to prepare myself for bariatric surgery, because this has been going on for a little bit. I've been trying to eat this way starting from in December. And I've been pretty consistent. I've had my good days and my bad days. I do try to be consistent in regards to cooking at home and not eating out too frequently. But even with cooking at home, there is restraint needed. And so those are some of the things I'm going to discuss in this video. So if this is something that interests you, or if this is a surgery that you're even thinking about getting, well, then this is the video for you. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. And that's so I don't start rambling, because y'all know how I can get. First thing is low carb. Low carb is essential. Basically, lowering the carbohydrate intake helps to prepare your liver for the surgery and to ensure that the liver gets smaller. It kind of serves two parts. One, so it's not as in the way when they do the surgery, but then also so that the liver is in the best condition to handle kind of the shock to your system of what happens with how you're going to be eating. So I try to eat less than 100 grams of carbohydrates per day, which I think the average person usually eats around 300. So it's like a good third of what, most people eat in the day, but I'm trying to get that even lower, consistently, while still being in my caloric deficit, which, caloric deficit is when you eat a little bit less than you normally would if you wanted to stay at your current body weight. You eat a little bit less than that, and that's what helps you lose weight. I try to stay under 100 grams of net carbs, and net carbs are carb minus fiber. So the total carbohydrates minus the fiber included when you look at the nutrition facts, which that's another thing that has become my friend, is the nutrition facts label. And I've kind of always looked at the nutrition facts just because of the way I was raised, and also some of my allergies and things. But I don't know why I said but. I think I literally forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, the next thing is 80 to 100 grams of protein. You want to have your meals focus on the protein. And so literally you will eat your protein first, is how they recommend for you to eat, so that you don't get full off of the carbohydrates, you get full off of the protein first, so that just in case, okay,
well, I don't feel like finishing my plate,
then you've eaten your protein. You haven't eaten just the carbs. That also helps with weight loss as well. I think I mentioned this before, but the amount of calories per day that I'm trying to stay at is around 1,600 calories. You can already see the guilt on my face. There's some days that I do that perfectly, and then there's some days that it goes way more. And those are the days usually when I don't prioritize my protein. Those are the days usually when I have way more carbs than I usually should be having. And so I really do appreciate them spelling out that when you prioritize your protein and prioritize getting the protein in your meals, that really helps with keeping your weight down. And I don't usually hear that emphasized. Also, it's not just general protein, it's also low carb, low fat protein. So it's different. It's like meat on its own, or meat and eggs or something, as opposed to breaded fried chicken or something like that. It's just okay, just a piece of chicken breast, and I'm gonna have some Brussels sprouts on the side or something like that. That's the more protein focused option. And because even then, if you had Brussels sprouts with it, that you would have a small portion of Brussels sprouts. It wouldn't be half your plate. So it's kind of more you have your whole plate, and then you have half your plate is the protein, or even 2/3 of your plate is the protein, half to 2/3. And then the remainder is that's your vegetables, and maybe a tiny bit of a treat. if like sometimes, not even all the time, not with every meal. Yeah, and then also 64 ounces of water. This is the current cup that I use, and I have another cup that I use also, but this one is about 20 ounces, I believe, and then the other one that I have is 40 ounces. So I try to prioritize using that one, but lately I've just been such a kick to use this one, and it's spiky, and I like spiky textures. Just listen to that. Isn't it wonderful? Anyway, not me getting distracted again. Y'all know me. I'm always distracted. It's whatever. Anyway, there's also things that I should not be having right now. Some of these things, I believe they really, in general, they don't want you to have after surgery either. Like within a year after surgery, even then, like sometimes it's a case by case basis, because some people, like, their tastes change after they have this surgery. Their stomach's able to handle things differently after this surgery. I should clarify something, because the bariatric surgery that I get, so I'm not going to say there's only two types, but the two major types that like people really frequently get are the gastric bypass and the gastric sleeve. And now the one I'm going to be getting is the gastric sleeve, which they basically like make your stomach into like a small banana shape, whereas the gastric bypass is more complex, and basically they make the stomach into like a little like golf ball shape, and then they reroute the small intestine up to that small golf ball shape past the stomach that's remaining. It's look it up, because I'm sure the internet that's run by AI now can explain it way better than I can right now, because I'm more focused on the gastric sleeve than the bypass. I did most of my research on the sleeve because that's the one that I wanted. I just know there's like, I mean, they both can have their complications, but I feel like the sleeve, and based on what my doctor told me as well, that the sleeve is safer for me. It'll be more helpful for me in the long run. But I was mentioning before I went on that tangent that there's certain things that I need to avoid. And so right now, I am avoiding alcohol, any kind of alcoholic beverage. I'm avoiding caffeine, period. But technically you can have 8 ounces of caffeine. But I'm avoiding caffeine completely, also because of some of the other medical conditions that I have going on. Apparently I am not supposed to be caffeinated, and that's something that I've learned, and I'm sad to say goodbye to caffeine, but also I understand that it is needed. I've been functioning okay without caffeine, I'll be honest. I've been doing okay, but at the same time, I do miss some elements of how I am when I have caffeine, and also it's way easier to wake up. It's way easier. I just gotta do what's better for me, not just what I want. That's part of being an adult. Grow up, darling. Grow up. So that's what I must do. I need to avoid fried foods, super fatty meats. So like when you go to the grocery store and you see meat that has like a ton of marbling, like, yeah, that's not for me. That's not what I get the meat that just looks red, only red, and that's fine, because there's a lot of ways that you can cook it so that it's not dry. And that's always my biggest concern when I cook meat, is making sure that it's not dry, that it's nice and juicy, because dry meat is terrible. It's awful to me. I can't like, that's why I don't really like tuna all that much, because it feels like no matter what you do to it, that it always turns out like you're eating chalk. And maybe I've just never had good tuna before, except for sushi. Now sushi, salmon, tuna, I can handle that. I love sushi. That's actually, I think that's probably gonna be one of my best friends. Like if people suggest like, oh, let's go out somewhere, and then I'll be like, well, because of my surgery, it'd be easiest for me to get food if we go to like a sushi place, because then they have sashimi, which doesn't have rice. You know, if you wanted the seaweed or the rice on the side, you can get it on the side. Or, you know, you get one roll of sushi, and then you have like, you know, and then you get some sashimi too, and you eat all the sashimi, and then have one of the little pieces of the sushi, the normal sushi. I just think that's perfect. And I'm sure there's other restaurants I'd be able to go to as well, but I just thought of that at the moment. Now, also, I need to avoid. Interesting. That's a nice word. I kind of like it. The point I need to avoid simple carbs, which is just like regular bread, pasta, rice, potato based things, fried potatoes, even baked potatoes. Also, when I looked it up, I saw they said like corn, they said also peas, which peas have protein, I was surprised with that one. But I think because of the amount of carbohydrates that are in peas alongside the protein, that's what does it. Because it can't just be, oh, there's protein and then there's a lot of carbs, because the carbs still are going to negatively, or not negatively, but impact my liver and my satiety levels. So we just leave that alone. If you have any questions or comments, concerns, issues, maybe if you have issues, take them to your therapist. If you have questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. I try to reply to every single comment that I get. I really appreciate it when you guys comment, and it makes me happy. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. The next thing I'm going to discuss is the grocery list. I will highlight some of these things. Some of the important things on my grocery list are protein shakes. I love the Premier protein shakes right now. Also the Fairlife protein shakes. Those are pretty good too, the chocolate ones. Those are the only ones I've tried though. But they're like 30 grams and then they're pretty low in carbohydrates. I have recently fallen in love with Premier protein shakes, and I used to not like them. I used to think they were kind of boring. I would only drink the Fairlife ones. But these are cheaper, one. And then two, they have these bake shop flavors. And girl, these bake shop flavors are something different. Like they have this cookie dough one, and the cookie dough one is excellent. The only thing I don't like about it is that sometimes it can crack one open and is a little clumpy. It's a little clumpy at the bottom, but I'll just strain it because I love the flavor that much that I am willing to deal with that, which y'all know, sensory issues. So clumpy is a no-no. Clumpy is disgusting. Clumpy, we can't be friends with her. But for the flavor, I might shake her hand. Also, they had this dark chocolate one. The dark chocolate one, it's not sponsored. I promise this is not sponsored. I am too small to be sponsored. That's okay. But the dark chocolate one, that is amazing. It is so good. And then they had this cake batter one. That one's really good. Like, honestly, I haven't had one that I hated at this point. Like the bake shop ones, the ones that have just a little more detail put into them, those they just do it. Yeah. So I highly recommend those if you're looking for something that's high in protein but low in carbohydrates, because it's 30 grams of protein per bottle, but then it's like 2 to 3 grams of carbohydrates. It's like, what more could you want? Because I used to drink the Chobani Greek yogurt protein shakes, and they had some that were like 15, they had some that were 20, they had some that were 30 grams of protein, they had some that were 45 grams of protein. And in all of them, the carbohydrates were, I love dairy, even though I probably shouldn't eat it as much as I do. Keep a secret. Thank you. Speaking of dairy, I get 0% fat Greek yogurt, and then I'll get 0% fat cottage cheese, and also string cheese, low fat, part skim string cheese. And that's a nice little snack, like a nice little snack before bed, in the middle of the day. It's mostly protein, minimal carbohydrates. I mean, there's some fat in there, but it's cheese. So like, as long as you don't eat too much cheese, you're good. I focus on the lean meats like I had mentioned before, I believe. So that means like if I get ground beef or ground turkey, that I get the 97% lean, 3% fat kind, or as high as I can find it. Because sometimes you go to the store and they only have 85-15. And if that's the case, then it is what it is. But you know, when if you can get the leanest kind, that is what I try to get, which I know means it makes it drier. So I usually, to help keep it juicy, I just cook it like a little bit less, if that makes sense. Like, make sure that it's fully cooked through, but then it's just, as soon as it's cooked, like turn that off, remove it from the heat, keep the juice. It'll be nice and juicy. Also, like skirt steak, different kinds of fish. So that includes salmon, snapper, calamari, mussels, scallops, those kinds of things. I like all of those. I like octopus, all of that. Sometimes it's not on sale though. So, you know, I'm not going to spend $22 on a bag of scallops. I'm not. Girl, the prices for everything out here is ridiculous. But we're not going to talk about that right now. What we're going to talk about is how I can also eat tofu and eggs. that is the other kind of lean protein, including egg whites. Specifically egg whites really is the more lean form. But what I'll usually do is I'll crack one egg into the pan, like 1 or 2 eggs, it depends. And then I'll put in a cup of egg whites, and then I whisk that all together. Then it's not as rubbery because it has a little bit of the egg yolk in there. And then I'll season it with Trader Joe's Green Goddess seasoning, which is bomb. It's excellent. It's good on everything. Like, they have their like everything bagel seasoning, and I'm like, lovely. I love that. It's so cute. But this Green Goddess seasoning is like perfection. I could put that on cake and probably be content. Like, it is that good. Not that I should be eating cake right now. But speaking of, I did find keto cake at the grocery store, which just because something's keto does not inherently mean that it is low carb, technically, because even though keto is supposed to be low carb, like sometimes it depends on what you think low carb is. But for the carbs that I'm trying to intake, I got one of the keto cakes and I made it at home. It's a box cake. It was great. It tasted really, really good. It tasted a little fibery, but it was still really tasty. And I'm like, now I just need to find like keto frosting or something to put on it, which I'm not sure if that exists, but like a stevia based frosting, and that'll be golden. I'll just be like, oh, I can make myself a cake that's low in carbs. And I love that. So I was talking about tofu. Something I found out is silken tofu. You can put silken tofu in a smoothie and it tastes exactly like a regular smoothie. It doesn't have like an aftertaste. It doesn't have anything extra or weird going on with it. It's just silken tofu, and it mimics the texture of like putting yogurt in the smoothie. It helps emulsify everything, but then you add your fruit and it just helps thicken up the smoothie. But then it also adds protein, adds a little bit of carbs too, but I feel like it's comparable to adding Greek yogurt, if I recall correctly. Sometimes I'll put like a whole block of the silken tofu in the blender with fruit and some stevia and some juice or water and juice, no sugar juice, right? Yeah. And then blend that up and it makes a really good smoothie. It's really nice. Which, speaking of fruit, my transitions are really good, aren't they? I appreciate y'all's patience with me. But the fruit I normally get is frozen raspberries, frozen strawberries, and frozen blackberries if I can find them, but sometimes it's hard to find those on their own. Then it'll be like fresh blackberries if we can. Like, sometimes they're way too expensive. Like, why is it $6 for a handful of blackberries? Anyway, usually we'll get some form of vanilla extract. We'll get sliced and shredded pepper jack cheese, deli sliced turkey or chicken breast, whichever. Might be turkey breast, might be chicken breast. We get guacamole, we like salsa, and we'll get hummus. And that's for now, because after the surgery, I am not allowed to have anything spicy, which I am going to miss horrendously because I love spicy food. It gives me life. And not having spice, I feel like, is going to be my biggest struggle. You're taking away sugar, you're taking away alcohol, you're taking away caffeine, you're taking away spice now too? Am I just supposed to eat bland asparagus? But no, that's why I've been really trying to invest in seasoning blends and things, because I like to season things, and I'm not the worst cook in the world, but sometimes with my seasoning blends, like when I try to just do it on my own and like ham fist it, sometimes it doesn't always come out right, which it is what it is. But that's why I'm trying to get better, but also seasoning blends and recipes. I've been trying to do better about recipes. I can't always just listen to my soul because sometimes my soul is a little confused, and then you get things like mac and cheese with hot dogs in them. Anyway, there's also these tofu shirataki noodles that I really, really like that you can just put pasta sauce on, and it's like 40 calories for the whole little, actually 20 calories for the whole little baggie that you get. And then you measure out your pasta sauce, heat that up, and it's delicious. Depends on how many of them you have, because it's not always filling. It's a nice side. It's not like you make that your main meal with one package of those, I feel like. And then also, I like getting pasta sauce because pasta sauce can, especially, and when I say pasta sauce, I'm referring to a 0 or low sugar added pasta sauce, that you can turn pasta sauce into tomato soup. Did y'all know that? Is it just me being weird? You can turn pasta sauce into tomato soup. You get your little cup of pasta sauce. You put that in your bowl. You add in chicken or beef stock, whichever you prefer. I use bone broth to add in a little extra protein. And then you add that in, you stir it, you put that in the microwave. And then you got tomato soup. You can make a little grilled cheese with it. Like, it's perfect. It's so good. It is so good. I love it. And then a lot of the things that we get are from local grocery stores. A local grocery store called Pete's. We really like that store because they have a lot of things that are made in-house as well. And then also we go to Trader Joe's. I hope this doesn't make them increase their prices. Trader Joe's actually has low prices now. Like, because everything else has gotten so inflated, Trader Joe's is the place to get cheap things. Everyone's been struggling with egg prices. Trader Joe's still has a dozen eggs for $4. $4. Extra large eggs, not the small ones. Extra large eggs, 12 for $4. I was amazed when I heard of that. And then also, like, their string cheese is $4. Like, the regular cheese is $4. Their deli meat is still pretty good prices. Like, chips and things are good prices. They had this, like, container of almond milk for like $2. And they just have a lot of pretty good stuff. Like, the only things that we don't really get there are our meat. We get our meat from either Pete's or from a Wild Fork nearby. That is basically how I've been eating lately, and I think I want to do a day of eating video where I kind of go through like how I track my food and everything and how I make what I make. I appreciate you all being here and sticking around for the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!